Hi there, my name is Courtney. I'm your friendly neighborhood collections technician for the Human History Department at the Manitoba Museum. Happy International Women's Day. Today I'm here to talk to you all about a very interesting and cool Manitoban woman named Cora Hind. Born in Ontario in 1861, Cora Hind was raised on her grandfather's farm and educated by her Aunt Alice following the death of her mother. While Aunt Alice homeschooled her as a youth, she did eventually go to formal high school and attempted to forge a career as a teacher. Unfortunately, after failing the algebra component of the teacher's exam, she decided to create a career elsewhere. In 1882, Hind and her Aunt Alice and two cousins moved west to Winnipeg. And here she immediately sought work at the Free Press. She approached the editor, who at the time was W.F. Luxton, and she was then very swiftly shown the door. Luxton said that a newspaper was no place for a girl. Now, Hind was not deterred, and she pivoted. She rented a typewriter, and she taught herself how to type. After about a month of study, she went out there and secured herself a job as a typist for Winnipeg lawyer and eventual Premier of Manitoba, Hugh John MacDonald. While she was doing this work, she also started to dabble in freelance journalism and was covering all sorts of agricultural related conventions and meetings and so on in the surrounding area. We have several pieces in our museum collection that belong to Hind or were created by her or gifted to her, and that includes this moose hide jacket right here. This jacket is embroidered in a style that we often associate with Norway House, but we don't have any exact provenance on where this jacket came from or how Cora Hind came to own it. We do, however, have photographic evidence of her wearing it at an agricultural fair in Brandon, dated 1926. This coat was very much in keeping with Cora Hind's style. When she was out and about, especially in the field, reporting on agriculture, she would often be seen wearing a pair of riding pants, smart jacket, and a Stetson or another large brimmed hat. Nearly 20 years after Hind approached the Free Press, she returned knocking once again, and in 1901, she was given a position as an agricultural reporter by the new editor, J.W. Defoe. After proving her worth and doing all sorts of amazing reporting, and also really securing herself as a person who could predict and report on market changes, crops, livestock breeding, and all sorts of things related to the agricultural field, Hind was actually promoted to agricultural editor of the Free Press. In the 1930s, Hind traveled the world doing all sorts of reporting on agricultural business. She traveled everywhere from Buenos Aires to Australia to Egypt. And during her travels, she would write and send letters and postcards to her very dear friend, Phyllis White. What I really love is looking at these letters, because while we do have some handwritten letters and we get to see her signature, we also see her typing these friendly, casual letters to Phyllis and to other people, which harkens back to her training as a typist. Hind was also passionate about women's rights and suffrage. She founded the Winnipeg chapter of the Canadian Women's Press Club. Using this position, she advocated for women in journalism. She was also one of the co-founders of the Political Equality League. They lobbied hard to gain women the right to vote in Manitoba starting in 1916. The last piece I'm going to show you today from our history collection is this silver bowl that was presented to Cora Hind on her 80th birthday by her former employer, the Free Press. And before you come at me in the comments, I know it's tarnished, but we leave the tarnish on here as a protective layer. If we were to put this out on display, then we would get her ready and shine her up. Hind's friend and fellow suffragist Lillian Bayon Thomas created a list in 1947 called Some Manitoba Women Who Did First Things. And she talked about how this list would not be complete without mentioning her very good friend, Cora Hind. She said, "It's no accident that made Cora Hind the first woman typist in Winnipeg, the first woman agricultural editor, one of the first workers for the franchise of women. She was made of the stuff that was forever reaching out for new horizons. Cora Hind passed away in 1942 and is buried at the historic Elmwood Cemetery here in Winnipeg. Thanks for joining me today, and have a great Women's Day.